Today's program features.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to have a possibility to address you today. Today's presentation, I'm going to start from 99. And a speaker, a gentleman in the beginning, he said, contribution to the peace, each of us giving one contribution, however small it is one contribution for the peace. And I was growing in one family that we were educated to don't hate anyone, but to respect everyone, whatever is, from wherever is, and whatever culture, background, religion, ethnicity, or whatever is. As Mr. Will mentioned, in '99 happened something terrible in Kosovo, and staying here and traveling around the United States, sometimes I think how lucky you are, this generation now that is living in peace and prosperity. It's a long and big work I have been doing in this direction, and actually I hope you have made the next 3 hours your schedule to listen to me. Okay, on '99, actually the disintegration of ex-Yugoslavia started earlier than '99, unfortunately. Unfortunately, after ex-Yugoslavia was functioning for one period quite well, but with the death of President in that period, Tito, the nationalism started to grow, and especially the Serbian nationalism was really quite aggressive, and then that made a chain effect and increases the nationalism on all the sides. Then, unfortunately, started the war and disintegration of Yugoslavia, starting from Slovenia, coming to Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, and then ended in Kosovo. Unfortunately, all Balkans was in big troubles. In history was in trouble, but this last war in '99 was really terrible. Fortunately, there were progressive forces led by the United States government and the United States and the other European countries that helped that terrible war end. So, personally, from my personal perspective, I learned one big lesson, one life lesson, if I may say like that. My family was, before the war of '99, quite well standing. We were really well standing, working, educating our children, and then in one day you see you lose everything. But I learned the lesson of my life, and I like always with pleasure to share with everyone. I understood that there is nothing important in this life more than the love of people in your family, the love of people in relatives, and people of your friends and your surrounding. That remains forever, because the war can happen. Sometimes we are running without thinking. We are running. Of course, money is needed for the good life, for a quality life, but and material things. But sometimes after the wars and unfortunately disasters and things, so then people understand that they missed maybe a part of their life, the part of their heart, the part of their spirit. So I'm so happy and glad that I have been doing this work, which was really big work, and I'm happy that I'm going to try briefly, shortly, to share this with you. and I know that I could talk months and months, but 1 minute of my talk here, I'm going to share with my heart, because I felt and I'm feeling every moment of my work what I'm doing. As Mr. Will said, I was a guest of State Department 2 years ago in one program, and I'm leading one NGO in Kosovo, which is a follow-up of one Italian NGO that I have started working with them in '99. And since '99, immediately after the war, in the beginning, I don't know if you know, but a half of the population of Kosovo were pushed out of the borders of Kosovo in '99 by the Serbian military and paramilitary forces and that terrible regime, which actually didn't made really bad things to all nations, but they harmed also their own nations, because also Serbs suffered, unfortunately. All people suffered. And then in '99, after the Dayton agreement related to Bosnia, and then after the capitulation of Serbian government and army, then the international forces came to Kosovo. And okay, I brought my family back to Kosovo in safe. Then we found nothing. Everything was burned. Everything was burned. 70–80% of the infrastructure, houses, everything was burned. But was something in history, historians are analyzing how could happen. All those people that 96%, they say they came back spontaneously. They didn't remain in Western countries wherever they were all around, but they came back because they wished to come and re-establish their life. One of them, together with my family, I was also there. So I came back, I found nothing, and I started again from zero. And I'm happy to share with you this, because after disaster, after the war, the sun again start to shine. And we have to feel that sun and all together continue. I started working with an Italian organization called Intersos. That's one internationally known organization which works all around the world. And they established the offices in all countries in Kosovo and around Kosovo: Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, Albania. And we started immediately the first emergency phase with giving a shelter to the population. That, as I said, 70–90% was everything burned. So they needed, winter was coming, and they needed a quick shelter. They needed food and non-food items. So in the first 2 years with this organization, which I was so happy that I worked with them, we really helped a lot population. We covered 6 municipalities with about 400,000 citizens. And together with other organizations, institutions, really it was done a big work. Then we understood one thing, that it's not enough just working in building individual life of people. And since unfortunately the war effects, during the war, it affected of destroying a lot of cultural heritage sites, and destroying the lot of mosques, churches, and other buildings which were really a big heritage of Kosovo. So we got, with the support of Italian government in that time, and with the UNESCO, we started working on the restoration of burned and destroyed cultural heritage sites. But our main goal was twofold, threefold. The one was restoring physically the buildings which were burned or destroyed. The second was to bring to the population the hope that also the buildings that are considered collective belonging for the people are going to be restored, and their life is gonna restore slowly. So please, next slide. Oh, I can do this, yeah. In the visit in Kosovo in 2000 came Italian president with the Secretary General of the United Nations in that time. And I was lucky that I was in the delegation waiting for that group, and the Italian president announced that the Italian government is going to give money to restore one mosque which was burned in my city, Peja. And actually, since I was working for this Italian organization took to make the restoration together with the Italian Center for the Restoration, which is one of the world-known restoration center in the world. So we started restoration with one aim of, as I said, giving a message to the population that their spiritual part of the life is going to be recovered, but we don't want it to concentrate only on one side. We wanted to have a balanced approach, and we wanted to address, since we were and we are still intending to create and working all together in the direction of making multi-ethnic and multicultural Kosovo. We don't want it to be concentrated only on one ethnicity or one religion, but we want it to have a balancing approach and take as an overall intervention. That's why we started working in the mosque. And we started working also in one Orthodox, Christian Orthodox patriarchate, which is under UNESCO World Heritage Site and is a treasure of Kosovo. So while we were doing those high-level restoration works, I can show you just quickly those. This is the Deccan Monastery, is another mosque, okay, and we were doing parallel to this. Our main goal was to initiate the process of reconciliation, because in Kosovo a majority of the population is Albanian. Immediately after the war, of course, because all what the people suffered, all that genocide that has been done, and it was not easy to forget. So it was needed to initiate the dialogue initiatives to start integrate minority communities within the such society, and especially in this case Serbian community which remained in Kosovo, and to work in the direction of their acceptance by the majority. Since we were intending and we are working in that direction to create a democratic society, one democratic society is measured by the level that society is giving the rights to the minority communities. As higher are the rights of the minority communities in one society, the level of the democracy in that society is bigger. So we have continued to work in different levels, starting from the grassroots with people, with children, youth, middle-aged groups, with elderly, And we work also with religious representatives of Islamic, Christian Catholic, and Christian Orthodox religion. And we were having monthly meetings with them. And then they were giving messages to the population of peace and tolerance. That was really something wonderful happened, and is happening also today. Although it was not easy for no one after all what happened, but we always repeated people should not forget, but people should forgive. That was the main motto we kept going on. And the highest religious representatives, together with institutional representatives of Kosovo and institutional representatives of the international community that were there, we made a kind of task force, and we were working in the direction of making this process easier and making this reconciliation process possible. So doing that, it took years and years. For us, this physical restoration was kind of just a tool or justification on one side of restoring all the monuments, which are really important. But on the other side, around those monuments, we have established in all that region of 6 municipalities, we established a network of local non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and through them we reached the population, and that it showed to be really effective, kind of a radio waves effect, and we were through them covering all the region. And slowly the tension started to decrease, because in the beginning it was really difficult for one Serb to come in the meeting with Albanian or in one activity. But during the time, the tension started slowly to decrease, and people start to, again, live normally in the given condition as much as was possible to do that. And they are continuing doing also today. Although there are a lot of problems at political level and economical level, but I would like again to repeat that thanks to the government of the United States and thanks to the United States, Kosovo has progressed, and all Balkans actually, in a good direction. And now is in a direction of negotiating and entering in the European Union, and that's a good thing that all countries are moving toward the European Union. And fortunately, the historical problems that were between all nations in that region will not happen anymore in the future with integration in the European Union. So, yeah. Those are the high quality. I wanted just to show you just to present some photos. High quality and scientific works done in those 500, 600 years old monuments and buildings, which are really a big treasure of. This is one monastery, Christian monastery in Deccan, in one city, and they are recognized. This is one old traditional house in stone, and it was after the effects of the war in this condition. And then during the restoration, we brought back, and we created the centers where the communities can meet together, and they can have joint activities there, and they can start build their life together in peace and tolerance. Then different activities were done dialogue activities, as I mentioned. This is the network that I mentioned of 14 non-governmental organizations. And all those 14 non-governmental organizations were different of different ethnicity, different culture, different background, and different religion. So it's a beauty. Really, it's multicultural composition of Kosovo is something wonderful. It's something really that it's whoever comes there, it's amazing seeing all that people living in harmony, being of different ethnicities, being of different culture, being of different religions, living in harmony. That's the most beautiful things to see. And that's why I'm happy that I had the possibility all those years to work in that direction. And I'm still working in that direction, and I will never stop working in that direction. This was one conference we organized in Italy, in Rome, together with institutional and religious representatives. And those was transmitted on all medias, and was a strong, they were strong messages to the population. Because after the war, it's not easy for people. It will take some time until people will recover. So I know that you are doing in your community a lot. You are doing a lot also for other communities. But I wanted today to bring to your kind attention another perspective from one situation of somewhere far away from here. And just maybe to change a bit of dynamic of your meetings. So. Then we paid a lot of attention to young generation, to the education of young generation, because they are the future of Kosovo, and we try also those activities to spread also in the countries around. So through different activities with youth, we try to interact to bring them together, through to socialize and to get to know each other, to create the friendships. And we use, again, those different activities as a tool for people to bring together. So we do kind of dramas, art therapy courses, gastronomy courses, where the women comes together, they cook together. Women of different ethnicities, religions, they cook together, they eat together, they talk together about their problems. And in this way, we continue growing this circle of tolerance between the people. Then there was some symbolical activities we used to call cultural heritage visits. So we take, for example, a group of children or youth or middle-aged or elderly or women, and in one day, 50 of them of different ethnicities, religion, all together in one bus, they spend a day together. And what we do, we bring them from one cultural heritage monument to another one. So we start, for example, with one museum, then we go to one mosque, then we go to Catholic church, then we go to Orthodox church. So it's really nice to see, for example, one person, when one Christian Catholic enters for the first time in mosque, or one Muslim enters for the first time in a Catholic or Orthodox church. In the beginning, they are kind of uncomfortable, but then you see that they enjoy. Oh, it's really nice. It's something that. So we try in that way to all together them feel cultures of each other, and respect and increase the tolerance and respect to each other cultures and differences, of course, that people have normally from the cultural aspect. Most of the first question somebody comes in Kosovo and asks me is, oh, this mosque is of, whose is this mosque or that church? my answer is always all the mosques, all the churches, all whatever they are mine, because I was born in that place and I grew up in that place, and from cultural aspect, all are mine, all are ours, our joint treasure, our joint culture. For example, one Catholic or one Orthodox, when hear the pray from the mosque, every morning, 5 times per day, it becomes a part of the culture. Or one Muslim, when he lives close to the church, it listens and sees his neighbor Catholics every day. So it's part of a culture and increasing the tolerance. So I sincerely feel like that, and I share with everyone that from the cultural aspect, we need all together to share and enjoy our joint values. On one side, to respect our own, but also to respect and value and enjoy the joint values. So that's another thing we are trying to spread to especially younger population, to the children and youth. Then we do different kind of activities, community days involving a lot of people. Natural, we have also wonderful nature there. We organize activities in the nature. This is one really that I would like to share with you. In Kosovo, there is a big group of the population, elderly people. And unfortunately, international community and Kosovo institutions, they tried to address all problems of the society. But for the elderly, they left elderly part of the population on the side, which is really a shame. And we tried to bring the attention to that, to the government, through one project that we had with, I think, with UNESCO in that time. And we organized, we created actually some centers, and we gave a possibility to elderly to come to those centers and to socialize. And we wanted also in that way to bring attention of institutions to pay more attention to the elderly population, because that's one population that has worked for all their life, and they have created something for the younger generation, and now this generation is not taking care about them, unfortunately. Then we had, to don't bother much, different conferences. So we worked, as I said, at the grassroots level, at the institutional level, and at the high top level with the ministries and with the government, with the municipalities also. Then we had traditional dancing and the traditional clothes courses. And there is another art therapy, the presentation of cultural heritage and culture through the photography. We organized a project giving to the children photo machines. In that time, the smartphones was not so in trendy there, so we gave photo machines, and they went around of all communities, and we told them, okay, you just go and make photos whatever you consider that is a heritage. And they came out with wonderful exhibition, and it's really amazing how the children and the young people, with their eyes, how they see culture that maybe sometimes we don't see. We are passing by and we don't see, but they feel in another way. Then we organize in Kosovo the European Heritage Days, which are every year organized. you can see here the beauty that I was talking about, the multicultural environment. And we do a wonderful activity called Art Colony. We take a group of about 20 youth, secondary school or students of university, and we bring them in one campus for a week, where they socialize, they stay together, and we provide them painting material. In 1 week, they enjoy together, get to know each other, and they produce a wonderful paintings. We bring them from each day to another site, and they then position their painting materials in different positions, and from different positions they create a wonderful paintings. So this activity was supported strongly by the British Embassy in Kosovo and the US Embassy. And 2 years ago, I visited Washington, D.C., LA, Des Moines, and Boston. And in Iowa, as Mr. Will mentioned, the mayors of two municipalities asked me kindly to help them. Actually, one was already done, sister cities, Johnston City, but they lost the connection. So I helped them in recreating those connections. And just 2 days ago, there is a big delegation from Iowa. I don't know, maybe it was also in the news here because I saw it was all around. A big delegation of about 50 people from Iowa went to Kosovo, and they are looking for the ways of having joint projects in different fields. So with Iowa, we have some progressed in the direction of initiating something like this, also between Kosovo and Iowa. So the idea is bringing a group of students from Iowa for a week in Kosovo, and meeting them in Kosovo with a group of 10 from Iowa and 10 from Kosovo, 20, and make them stay together for a week and produce paintings, socialize, and at the end we organize exhibitions, and those exhibitions then we circulate all around. In this way, we create also kind of sustainability, because those paintings then we are gonna put in, we are gonna try to sell, and with that money to continue this circle of exchange. Then I'm doing something same also here in Texas. And there is another program that I have applied last year in US Embassy in Kosovo, and applied a lot of organizations, but the project of my organization was chosen as the best, and entered in competition in one program, which includes 10 US-based organizations and 10 internationally chosen organizations from different embassies all around the world. And just yesterday, I got the information that actually we were, a month ago, we were announced that we entered in a semi-final. We are in between the group that we are going to continue. And just yesterday, I received one information that we have been matched with one organization in Idaho. And in Idaho, we are going to initiate this cultural exchange in different levels. And this it goes through one organization called World Learning, which is supported by the Department of Culture within the State Department. So this is more or less a part of it, what we are doing. And the beauty is that we try to increase the awareness of the population for the need of protection of cultural heritage, respect of the heritage as an overall heritage, and for the necessity of integration of and acceptance of minority communities within society. So Serbian community, minority community, and non-Albanian other communities to be accepted by the majority, and to progress and go in the direction of creating a better society, which hopefully will continue living in peace. Because I must say this, the people always lived in harmony. There are the politics, there are the interests, there are the governments that unfortunately make people suffer. And we cannot do much in affecting the governments, but what we can do working a lot, working in communities at grassroots level, and the joint force then can affect the policies of the governments. They have to cooperate and make people living in peace and tolerance. So, thank you for your kind attention. And if I'm ready, if somebody has any question, I'm ready to answer.
I'll tell you what, we're running short on time.
Okay.
Do you have a few minutes after?
Sure.
You can answer some questions in.
Of
so
course.
if you want to talk, please come up afterwards. Samir, in recognition and appreciation of your talk to us today, we have made a donation in your name to a long-time Rotary Club of Dallas and Rotary International initiative to establish sanitation and safe, clean water, as well as our club's initiative to establish good dental hygiene in Ghana, Africa.
Oh,
this will change the lives of many, many people.
I'm so happy about that. Thank you.
There you are.
Thank you. I'm gonna. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for your speech.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So next week's meeting, as you can see there, will be David Williams, CEO and Superintendent of the Village Schools, talking about Village Tech Solutions. Also, just as a reminder, the Board of Trustees meeting will follow immediately here. So now, if you will please rise, and let's recite the four-way test, the things that we wish all people would live in their lives. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendship? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And don't forget our club's number 5. Is it fun? Thank you. Adjourned.